Let's take a look now at the model that economists use to capture the pay for performance game. And I use the term game advisedly because this is how economists view incentive compensation plans. There are two players in the simplest version, the principal and the agent. These terms come from the field of law. So if, for example, you're running a business and you may send someone off, your employee, to work on your behalf, in legal terms, you are the principal and they are the agent. They are acting on your behalf. So they're acting as your agent, and you're the principal because you're the one who ultimately is going to benefit from the actions that they take. Like any economic model, we are going to simplify the world dramatically. For example, I just spelled things out in terms of only two players when most organizations have far more people than just two. But it's valuable to keep things simple because this way we can put the extraneous stuff off to the side and focus on the tensions that are really going to matter and are going to guide us in designing an incentive compensation scheme carefully. So let's take a look. And we'll start with the principal's problem. What the principal is trying to do is offer a contract to the agent, to a prospective worker, that if they take it, then they will get paid according to a fairly simple pay for performance scheme. What is it that the principal is trying to do? What the principal wants to do is maximize the value of the agent's productivity, net of the compensation cost, right? So we want to be encouraging the worker, motivating them, and communicating to them exactly what we want them to do, and we want them to do a lot of it. But we don't want to have to pay them too much. So really what we're trying to do is maximize what the agent is providing to us, subject to two constraints. The first one is the participation constraint. The agent has to be willing to take the job rather than working for someone else, or maybe deciding they'd rather not work at all than do such hard work for us at such minimal pay. So step one, we need to overcome the agent's participation constraint. Step two, we need to design our compensation scheme in the face of what's called the individual rationality constraint, that the agent is going to pursue their own objectives. This is also often called the incentive compatibility constraint, because our incentives have to be compatible with what we really want when we take the cynical view that the agent is going to pursue their own objectives. They're going to do what benefits them. We want to design a system so that when they do what benefits them, it will also be what benefits us as the principal. Now, let's look at this from the agent's perspective. They are looking out for number one. They are trying to do the best for themselves. But money's not the only thing that they want. Naturally, everyone prefers more money to less. But there are other things that they care about. Effort is one of them. Economists usually refer to people as being effort averse, meaning everything else equal, they'd rather work less than more. So they're going to be much happier if they can get the same pay for less effort. Economists also refer to people as being risk averse. So risk means that that the agent can't perfectly control their pay. Right, so it might be, and we'll see this in example after example, they work a certain amount, but maybe they find a diamond and maybe they don't. Maybe their efforts pan out, the sale goes through, maybe it doesn't. They're going to face risk that they can't control. Economists refer to people as being risk averse because in most cases, again, everything else equal, we'd rather have less risk than more. So think about it this way. What would you rather have? A job that pays you $50,000 a year for sure, or a job that pays you $100,000 a year if a coin I flip comes up heads, but if it comes up tails, you don't earn anything at all? Well, on average, you would get $50,000 a year either way, but in the first case, it's certain. In the second case, it's 0 or 100,000, depending on a coin flip. Most people would rather have the $50,000 for sure, because that'll keep them from having to sell the house and take the kid out of college. Okay, so again, agents prefer more money to less. They are effort averse, meaning they prefer less work to more, and they are risk averse. They prefer less risk to more. And all of those assumptions are going to be very important, again, as we look at unintended consequences. Okay, so now what are the tools that the principal has at their disposal when they design their incentive compensation scheme? They have two key ones. The first one is the base salary. It's what is the minimum pay that the agent can receive, and the principal can make that high or low. Second, they can choose incentive intensity. This is how sensitive the change in pay is based on a change in performance. So if you are a salesperson, if you sell 10% more, is that going to double your total compensation, triple your total compensation, or only change it by 1 or 2%? Maybe all you get is a parking spot closer to the entrance of the office building and a free dinner. Okay, so you can, the principal, again, has these two tools. They can change the base salary and they can change the incentive intensity. Now, what is the agent choosing? The agent is choosing their effort. And economists break this down into two types of choices about effort, which, to keep it simple, I will refer to as working harder and working smarter. Working harder is just the total quantity of effort that the agent provides. How many hours are they working? How much are they working their muscles when they move that dirt out of the hole to look for diamonds or make a trench? That's working harder. Then we have working smarter. In most jobs, we're not just doing one thing. We have a variety of different tasks that we might need to focus on. If we are dealing with customers, we have a sales task. We're trying to get customers to buy what we have. And we also have a service task. We're trying to make them happy after they've bought whatever it is we have to sell. And so we're going to need, even if we hold constant how hard we're working, we still have that decision of how to allocate our time and effort to sales and service. So, to summarize all of this, the principal proposes a compensation contract that has a base salary and some degree of incentive compensation based on a set of performance measures. The agent is going to decide whether or not they want to take the job. Did it meet their participation constraint, or does another job look more attractive? The agent then, if they take the job, is going to be making decisions about effort. How hard are they going to work, and how are they going to allocate that effort, or how smart are they going to work? The principal is then going to pay the agent according to the contract and keep everything that's left over. So there's one more term I want to introduce here, which is that the principal is the residual claimant on the value created by the worker. Everything that the worker creates after, the agent, after they get their pay, the principal gets the residual. They get everything that is left over. So to summarize in graph form what this compensation scheme might look like, and this is the simplest you could possibly see, the lowest possible pay is called the base pay, and that's how much you get if you don't work at all. And then every little improvement in measured performance, however the principal is measuring it, is going to result in a little more pay. The steepness of that line, the slope in mathematical terms of that line, is called the degree of incentive intensity. We can crank that up and motivate them to work harder. And, well, golly, that seems like a very natural thing to do, doesn't it? If we know what we want them to do and we're measuring their performance, why not crank incentive intensity up as high as we possibly can? Well, because doing so is going to have some other consequences, some unintended consequences, if we're not careful. And we'll be dealing with that soon enough.